Arnab Goswami on The Debate.
Good evening and welcome. This is Super Primetime Max on The Debate with Arnab. Viewers, just minutes before Prime Minister Narendra Modi touched down in Kazan in Russia for the BRICS meeting today, and just a couple of hours before he started a very, very positive bilateral, we can play the pictures, with Vladimir Putin of Russia, just minutes before he touched down and maybe a couple of hours before these visuals came in, the Chinese government put out a statement endorsing what the Indian Foreign Ministry had said yesterday about the partial resolution of the border issues with China. So just consider the chronology. Modi takes off, Chinese put out a statement, Modi lands, Chinese endorse what India has said, Modi goes into the bilateral. Keep things in perspective. So what Narendra Modi has done is balance the American pressure perfectly by bringing together a very practical and as of now necessary coming together of Asia and Russia. And that is where Prime Minister Narendra Modi's global role in balancing power equations becomes very, very critical for the world. The Prime Minister knows his unique situation. He knows that India, with its global aspirations, needs to play a significant role in all major power groups, that it cannot be isolated anywhere or only in one corner. And that is why, though the SCO meeting was in Islamabad, we still sent Foreign Minister Jaishankar there. That is why, while being with Australia and Japan and the US in Quad, which is essentially, without doubt, an anti-China group, we are simultaneously working with China, with Russia, with Brazil and 32 other nations today at BRICS, where the big counter-USA meeting is on. This is not just fine balancing. It's very, very finely thought geostrategy. Viewers, we need to be watchful as a government, but proud as Indians about what we are achieving on the global stage. Remember, it was very, very easy to claim non-alignment in the 50s and the 60s and the 70s when you were dumped at the bottom of the third world. That had no significance. Today, as the soon-to-be third largest economy of the world, as a major global power from Asia for the world, we are the only country of our significance to be truly non-aligned, with no bloc serving no other interest than national interest. We truly need to be very, very proud of what we are doing as a nation. I'm emphasizing that on Debate 1, ladies and gentlemen. At 8:30 p.m. tonight, a sharp turn on the debate and the huge controversies around this lady. Her name is Ekta Kapoor. She runs something called Alt Balaji and is accused of all kinds of things by people who have real problems with the levels of obscenity and semi-pornography in what her group produces. And debate number 3 this evening, ladies and gentlemen. There's been violence in Parliament during a Parliament meeting. Shocking story there. Almost blood spilt on Parliament's floor. And debate 4 this evening on a very packed Super Tuesday. First he said he will eradicate Sanatan Dharma and now makes it a matter of pride in another statement. That's Indi leader and DMK's Deputy Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu, Udayanidhi Stalin. At 10 o'clock tonight, the bonus debate. At 10 o'clock this evening, the big global story of the day, the end of Russian isolation without doubt. This is what Putin has achieved. The Americans have any spin on it, but this is the reality around what is happening at that big BRICS meeting in Russia. And here are the headlines this Super Tuesday evening on the Debate Tonight. All eyes on Prime Minister Narendra Modi as India takes center stage at the BRICS 2024. Modi's key bilateral with Putin makes waves, while significant progress is achieved and expected more also in India-China relations. The message is clear. The global south is finally looking to India in this new world order, and India is leading the charge. Vladimir Putin hosts BRICS Summit 2024 with world leaders like Prime Minister Narendra Modi and China's Xi Jinping in attendance. One thing is crystal clear at the BRICS, despite the West's efforts, it is the end of Russian isolation. Controversial director Ekta Kapoor in another huge controversy, charges of portraying inappropriate scenes involving a minor in her OTT web series. The Mumbai police have registered a case against Ekta Kapoor and her mother Shobha Kapoor under the POCSO Act. Violence and chaos in Parliament as Trinamool Member of Parliament Kalyan Banerjee clashes with BJP MP Abhijit Gangopadhyay. Things take a violent turn as the Trinamool MP smashes glass bottles, ends up injuring himself in horrific scenes in Parliament today. And first he said he will eradicate Sanatan Dharm, then he issues a wait-and-watch warning, and now MK Stalin's son and Tamil Nadu Deputy CM Udayanidhi Stalin, in an extremely defiant move, says he will not apologize for his comments on Sanatan Dharm or his threats. Ladies and gentlemen, big story today, from renewing his connect with the diaspora to making a fresh pitch for peace with Ukraine to Russian President Vladimir Putin. Prime Minister Narendra Modi struck all the right notes, have made all the big moves already on day one in Kazan as he arrived to a rousing reception ahead of the 16th BRICS summit.
From the time he touched down in Russian city of Kazan, the spotlight remained firmly on Prime Minister Narendra Modi as he smiled, waved and greeted the cheering diaspora who waited in the cold to welcome him. Ahead of his arrival, posters went up across the Russian city, welcoming him back for the second time in 4 months. After the meet and greet with the diaspora, the Prime Minister sat down for a bilateral with the host President Vladimir Putin. Picking up from where he left off in Moscow, Prime Minister Modi prodded Putin again for peace with Ukraine.
हमारा मानना है कि समस्याओं का समाधान शांतिपूर्ण तरीके से ही होना चाहिए। हमारे सभी प्रयास मानवता को प्रमुखता देते हैं। आने वाले समय में भी भारत हर संभव सहयोग देने के लिए तैयार है।
Prime Minister Modi has made it clear that India is a part of the multilateral world.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, my guest this evening, Abhijit Chawda from New Delhi, Sergey Doviranov, Director of Communications of the BRICS Cultural Media Forum from Russia, Dr. Joseph Chalil, author and publisher of the Universal News Network from Florida, and Sarang Shidor, Director of the Global South Program at the Quincy Institute in Washington. Thank you very much. Thank you very much indeed. Let me go to you first in Washington, Mr. Shidore. You're watching this BRICS summit. And we are watching it keenly as well. It has come at a time when the Americans have been putting some pressure on India to go completely with the American group, which is not happening. We believe that we can and we are very successfully striking the right balance. How easy is this and how easy is it going to be going forward? Mr. Shidore, please.
Thank you, Arnab, for having me. I think it's a complicated challenge, no doubt, because we live in a world that is increasingly being polarized, that we have a Cold War-like situation between the United States on one side and Russia and China on the other side. And countries like India, the middle or major powers, that have their own claim, their own perspectives, are increasingly being pushed towards one side or the other. And the challenge for a country like India is to assert its own strategic autonomy from the Indian perspective and find a way to benefit from all sides. And that's, BRICS is one forum for doing that, as the way, from what I can tell, New Delhi is looking at it. And the United States is certainly going to have to, in the longer run, and even now, in the case of India, have to live with the fact that these global south middle powers are going to find their own balance and their own way of benefiting from this competition and focusing on their own rights.
And Dr. Joseph Chalil, does America really have any levers on us left? I remember that when they put the pressure, they said that they will impose sanctions on us when we were going ahead with the S-400 missile defense system purchase. They threatened, but the sanctions were placed not as an India-specific favor, but were rolled out by the US. So they threatened, right? But our purchase still went through. The Americans had to deal with the fact that we are not going to listen to them beyond the point. Now we are not only not listening to them, but we've made it clear that we will continue to have a strong affinity with the BRICS nations, with Russia. And we're also solving our issues with China in a very deliberate move. How will Washington respond to this?
The deep south, the deep state in America should be really worried, because I think the biggest threat to their power is this, especially the Russia-China alliance. And if India comes into that picture, it will be, it won't be under control. But from all what we see here, the likelihood that there'll be a Trump presidency coming in, then it might be a welcome move. It might be a group of friends and global peace and possibly long-term peace forever. Maybe this might be the only way we can avoid a World War III, where Russia and China and America and India together are speaking us as equals, as partners, not as adversaries, not as America controlling the deep state telling India or Russia or China this is what they should do, versus respected for their right place in the history, right place to bring peace to the world. So again, China has the money more than America have at this point. Russia has all the natural resources. India has the manpower. This three-party combination would be a force to reckon with. I hope and pray that the deep state of America get to know this and then play their card wisely, and they respect India and bring peace to Ukraine and Russia as soon as possible. This is what Donald Trump has promised. He said as soon as before he even takes office, that he would force peace upon Russia-Ukraine or Ukraine war. So I assume that's what's going to happen. I think this is a great day for India. India is being respected. I think the long-standing territorial war between China and India need to be settled. That would be good for our security as well. But again, I wouldn't trust China with all my heart, and I wouldn't trust Russia with China as well. So that's that we are in the group as opposed to outside.
But I think our policy right now is trust nobody from an Indian perspective, but be ready to work with all. Be ready to be reasonable with all. And viewers, just remember, it's not easy to do this. All of this is happening at a time. Sergey, I want to come to you next. How do you view it in Russia? I saw Russia today, non-stop coverage of this. A lot of focus on Prime Minister Modi, while there being a great focus on BRICS. So obviously your state machinery looks upon today's event and tomorrow's event as an end of American attempts to isolate Russia. How important a role does India play in this?
Thank you so much, dear and honorable Arnab Goswamiji, for invitation. I want to tell that most significance that right now it's the first time that new format of BRICS. Before it was only 5 countries. Right now, 5 new members joined to BRICS, and 4 of these new members belong to the Muslim world. That's why our national leader, Vladimir Putin, specially chose Kazan like a capital of Tatarstan, most biggest Muslim republic in our country, to be a capital of BRICS conversation. And the most important, of course, is agenda, and agenda related to the coexistence and interdependence, like a main principle of BRICS Intergovernmental Alliance. Because we are not living in an independent world where it depends from Mother Earth, from nature, from God, from each other. And we should bring some spiritual principles for our discussion. Criterion of progress, it's not only economical level and some economical level of the society, but also spiritual progress. We can tell how educated people, how they're soft heart. That should be also, we should bring to agenda. And I want just to remind that the last day of BRICS will be birthday of United Nations. 79 years back, we installed United Nations without basic word in our document of United Nations, without word God and God will. That's why right now Russia is not any more atheistic country. We are believers like India. India believes to Sanatana Dharma, we also believe to Jesus Christ, and we have with us Muslim population. That's why spiritual mission is dialogue of civilization. That's why BRICS is a future, because of this main principle, means interdependence. What we want to discuss, that is most important.
I think what you're basically saying that, this is very significant because BRICS is today a much larger body. There are 32 nations who are going to be represented at this BRICS summit. Counter to the Americans, Abhijit. The Americans must be hating it. And on top of it, their hands are tied because you have a lame duck president. You don't know whether it's going to be Kamala Harris or Donald Trump, and there's a fair amount of political uncertainty. But the deep state in America will take this very personally. They will look at this as clearly, whatever they say, the end of Russian isolation. And presumably they'll be angry with India, because India has gone and played a major role in putting this grouping together and has worked out, at least partially, but a significant amount of its issues with China. What are we signaling back? And how do you think this will play out? I mean, how will the Americans respond beyond trying to put pressure using proxies like, Justin Trudeau?
Yes, good evening, everyone.
Yes,
good evening, Arnab. You are absolutely right. The Americans will be very displeased with India. If India had gone ahead with what the Americans said, then Russia would be way more isolated. So this is an extremely important BRICS summit that we are witnessing. And I had tweeted this on August 13, that the Americans are going to achieve the unthinkable. They're going to drive India and China into the same camp. And that's exactly what's happened. And now India has options of various kinds, especially in light of the India-China border breakthrough, of which we're talking about very early days. We have to always be very wary of China. It's a very complex relationship, many challenges, but with the right approach with China, relations can change for the better. So this BRICS summit for us, it shows that Russia is far from isolated. It shows that India has lots of options, especially at a time when relations with the West are declining. Like I said last time over here, the US is playing good cop, bad cop with India. It's positioning itself as the good cop with Canada as the current bad cop. And the UK, Australia, etc. are also taking the side of Canada. Germany recently put out a truncated map of India. So all these US vassal states are all engaging in the bad cop behavior with India. So the Kazan summit is an opportunity for India to further bolster the robustness of India-Russia ties, to resume cordial relations with China, and to engage multilaterally with the global South. And all of this is going to send a message to the US and the West. The biggest message is that RIC may be in the works, Russia, India, China. And that is the greatest fear of the West. If Russia, China, and India can find a way to come together, it's going to be a huge challenge for the West. India, Russia, we have no problems. It's the one country with which India has excellent relations, and they don't do anything that hurts our national interest. The real challenge is China, and if we can overcome that, working together, then it's a whole new world order that we may be witnessing. So this is the message that is going to go out to the West. It's going to upset the West, but the entire onus of the bad relationship is entirely with the US and the West. We haven't done this, they have done this. All these false allegations, all these baseless allegations, they have created the bad relationship, and now they're going to deal with it. So that's how I see it.
Yeah, I mean, surely, without doubt, they are responsible. But I think another thing is, Sarangji, is that I think, Sarang, the Americans underestimated Narendra Modi. They felt that with a slightly lesser verdict in the last general elections, despite coming in with a very strong coalition government, they thought he was politically weaker. They overestimated the opposition. And now with, the huge successes that the BJP has had in the last state elections, and with the way Narendra Modi has played out the first 4 or 5 months of his third term, he's looking as strong as he was. a year back. So did they sort of underestimate Narendra Modi's, one, his political clout, which continues to grow in India? Secondly, his ability to work with different world leaders and countries depending on what India's, interest lies, where India's interest lies.
Yeah, it may be so, Arnab. I felt even when after the election result that the Indian foreign policy will not change fundamentally because the tradition of Indian foreign policy is the Prime Minister and of course his able Foreign Minister Dr. Jaishankar are both running the show and their strategy for taking India forward in this very complicated environment continues. I'm not particularly surprised that India is playing it the way it is. From the US perspective, I do think that they do think that India can align more with the United States on US terms. And that's not going to happen because India has a big enough power to figure out its own destiny and it has the levers to play. I mean, look at the way the Indo-Russian relationship has continued. In energy trade actually deepened despite all the pressure that came from Washington and from European capitals. And that was a sign of strategic autonomy. And I expect that autonomous instinct in the Indian foreign policy to actually very much continue, if not only deepen, as we go forward. And BRICS, again, provides a very important platform for global South middle powers to play all sides. They want to have good relations with the US, but they also want to hedge and continue their conversations and their exchanges and interactions with other major powers, because the world is not just the United States. There are other major powers and middle powers that are increasingly important. So I think that's what we are seeing here.
I think as we say there on the headline, this is the multipolar pivot. Americans are not ready for it yet, Joseph. I don't think they are ready for it. Certainly not their deep state. They're just not ready for it.
I agree 100% because I don't think the West can live without Russia, India, China. Again, they might not be able to, live without Russia, but without China, all the products, I would say 90% of the products we buy on Amazon are all made in China. Most of the human resources potentially in the future will be coming from India. So without these two countries, the West, especially USA, will be paralyzed. Russia, India, China alliance is the biggest threat, maybe a biggest threat to NATO as opposed to just USA. And all the boogeyman deal Canada is trying to do is just it's nothing. So I would highly suspect that a new presidency, a new leadership in the US would learn to handle it versus the current leadership, which is ill-equipped. The deep state is deeply worried because of the sagging poll numbers of Kamala Harris. So I am very hopeful that we will have a long-lasting peace and an equal footing as opposed to they're treating us down.
My last question goes to both Sergey and to Abhijit. Sergey, to you, and then Abhijit, you can take that. Narendra Modi, Vladimir Putin, Xi Jinping. Very powerful combination to put together. But can the three really work together on all significant issues? Or is it a matter of time before differences creep up? Sergey.
First of all, differences, culture diversities, that is the richness of our intergovernmental alliance BRICS. I already mentioned dialogue of civilization. And I want to again repeat, BRICS is not anti-West, it's just non-West. We have only one enemy, which is ignorance. During all our history, our nation, Russia, we always deliver our blood to support small nations like Armenia, Georgia. You can look to all history of Russian people. Even now we support Palestine. Why? Because Palestinians are suffering. If Israel will be in troubles, we will support Israel because we always support justice. And on the basic of dharma, it can be three leaders if they will be its ethics, basic principles, interdependence. They're so clever, so smart, they're real spiritual leader, not only political leader right now, Xi Jinping, Narendra Modi and Putin. That's why they want to create a new model of the global policy. It's not about economy, actually. It's about ideology. Yeah. It's about human value, human traditions, about a vision of civilization.
No, I think it's a very formidable combination. And I'll maybe get a comment from Avijit on this. You know, if you look at the three leaders together, all of them, Abhijit, have more than 20 years heading more than 10 years at least heading their respective countries, right? And more than 20 years in very significant positions. Lot of experience, lot of maturity, lot of strategy, lot of tact, right? And on the other side, you don't know who's there. I mean, it could be Trump, it could well be Kamala Harris, who Elon Musk calls a puppet wherever he goes. So, you know, I think the Americans and the West will also have to bring together a mature leadership to be able to engage with what Sergey calls the non-West countries, which they don't seem to have to me right now, as a collective face. Can you unmute?
Yes, indeed. So it's going to be a challenge for the US to put forth the right leader. I think it's very evident that Kamala Harris is not the right person to be the leader of the US. If things go well for the US, probably Donald Trump will come to power. But when it comes to the RIC combination of nations, the only challenge for these nations to come together lies within China. Look, India and Russia have no issues whatsoever. We have no divergence of interest. We don't have any bad history together.
Yeah.
It's going to be, the onus is going to be on President Xi Jinping and the Chinese Communist Party to resolve their differences with India, because we haven't created the differences. Whatever wars have happened, whatever tensions have happened, have been created by China. So they'll have to work together with us, and maybe Russia can also get involved. And if that can happen over the next few years, then the world can change significantly. If RIC comes together, it'll be a better.
We'll see some very interesting photo ops. I'm not sure there'll be India-China bilateral at this level just yet, but it'll be great to see if the three leaders we mentioned come together on any photo op and what the body language there is. This is being watched very, very closely in Washington, very, very closely in London, all across the West. I think one thing Putin has achieved, the end of Russian isolation in a dramatic way. So he's played that game well. We're debating that at 10 o'clock. Thank you, gentlemen. Absolute pleasure to have you with us. Very controversial director, Ekta Kapoor, is in another huge controversy after a very significant charge surfaced against her. The charge against her and her company, rather, is that they are using minors to create obscene content in their very controversial OTT platform called Alt Balaji for a very, 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 very controversial web series. The question is, for how long can Ekta and her directors and directors like her hide behind the garb of creative liberty? Let's debate.
Producer Ekta Kapoor has landed herself in a legal soup. A case under the POCSO Act has been filed against the Alt Balaji chief and her mother, Shobha Kapoor. This comes after Ekta's OTT platform, Alt Balaji, allegedly displayed inappropriate scenes involving minors.
3 वर्ष पहले अल्ट बालाजी की वेबसाइट पर एक अश्लील वीडियो काफ़ी वायरल हुआ था। उस वीडियो में एक नाबालिग लड़की को इंडिसेंट तरीके से दिखाया गया था, जिसकी शिकायत हमने मुंबई पुलिस कमिश्नर साहब को दी थी, जिसमें वहां से हमें आश्वासन मिला था कि इस विषय पर पोस्को एक्ट के तहत कार्रवाई की जाएगी। पर कुछ समय बाद पुलिस ने उसे अनदेखा करना चालू कर दिया। आखिरकार हमने कोर्ट में एक याचिका दी और कोर्ट का निर्णय आया कि इस विषय पर जल्द से जल्द एफआईआर की जाए। अब जाके एफआईआर हुई है, पर एफआईआर करने के बाद अब तक एकता कपूर जी को अरेस्ट नहीं किया है।
Mumbai police has sought details of the cast in the alleged film. The cops are also set to record the minor statement, along with the cast, crew and the director of the film. Mumbai police has asked Ekta Kapoor and Shobha Kapoor to come up with certain documents pertaining all to Balaji. However, the producer's brush with controversy is not new. In 2014, the producer was embroiled in a controversy after allegations of false portrayal of Jodha in the Jodha Akbar show. In 2015, Kapoor introduced a nudity clause in her contracts, despite concerns from the Central Board of Film Certification. It was 2020 when an FIR was filed against Kapoor, accusing her of disrespecting the national emblem, Hindu gods and army personnel in a web series. This latest controversy now adds to a long list of run-ins with the law. Only time will tell how this situation unfolds and what it means for Kapoor.
Starting out with Arun Bakshi, who's an actor, and Simi Chandok is a very well-known entertainment journalist. Simi, Ekta Kapoor, you know, this, I mean, I'm not passing judgment of what she does, but generally now the talk of town is that she's basically putting out all this semi-pornographic stuff on her OTT platform to get the audiences, and that's fairly no limits kind of situation. And there are many comments and complaints about this. Is this all that she can do? Can she not change course, or is she in a trap that the only way she can run her company now is by feeding more of this obscene stuff?
Arnab, first of all, I have to congratulate you for taking up this subject of obscene content on OTTs. Even last time we had a similar debate. But I would like to say one thing here, that we cannot hold Ekta Kapoor responsible for, spreading the dirt in the industry. Secondly, when it comes to this particular OTT show that we are talking about, Gandhi Baat, she has shown children, actually they're not even children, they are students from 11th and 12th class, and they are being physically abused, sexually abused, as they say, by their close relatives. So I don't know, so I don't know why there's such a big noise being made about that. First of all, the children who are being shown there, they're not kids, they're depicted as 16 and 17-year-old, 11th and 12th past kids, okay, 11th and 12th standard kids. So, first of all, is he really sure that those children were underage? Is he sure that they were not 18 and 19 when this show was made and they did the show? That's the first question I would want to ask the vigilante gentleman. Then I can go on.
No, point here is that, this is the classic Bollywood excuse. If you tell them why do you show rape scenes in such graphic detail, they say, oh, we are not showing rape scenes, we're just showing how bad it is. Similarly, the argument is, Arun, that we are not showing the sexual exploitation of children. We are just depicting how bad it is to sexually exploit children, and therefore we need to go very graphic with it. We need to go very detailed with it. And the more detailed and graphic we are with sex scenes, with incest scenes, with scenes using children, or as Uday Mahurkar says, inappropriate relationships, then only we'll get to know. It's like saying that we need to show an act of crime in great detail to stop crime. And that's a rubbish argument. You don't need to do that. Arun, what do you think about this? Because that's the excuse always taken out here. We need to show it in graphic detail to tell people how bad it is. Arun.
Sir, I fully endorse you. But the major thing is there is no censor board. There is absolutely no censor board. कोई आंख इसको देख नहीं रही. और दूसरी बात यह है कि माइनर या एडल्ट जो भी आता है उसके सामने स्टेजेस होती हैं. पहले उसका ऑडिशन दिया जाता है, उसके बाद में उसको स्क्रिप्ट दी जाती है, स्क्रिप्ट के बाद में फिर उसके साथ रीडिंग होती है. क्या माइनर को ये पता नहीं है कि आपके सामने जो स्क्रिप्ट है, जो लाइंस लिखी हुई हैं, वो क्या है?
और प्रोड्यूसर और डायरेक्टर की कोई रिस्पांसिबिलिटी नहीं होती है.
And also,
what about the responsibility? Why don't? No. Simi. Let's take Alt Balaji today as a OTT service. Let me ask you today. I don't want to go into detail, and I request Uday Mahurkar not to go into graphic detail, because sometimes Uday Dada, you tend to do that in the course of making the point. But the point is that what does Alt Balaji do? What content is going out there? Is this all that these producers can put out? Mr. Mahurkar.
Arnab, without going into some of the graphics, I cannot describe. You see, it's not about small girls alone. It is about the entire content which is being dished out. There is one old Balaji film where a youth in his house is sleeping with his grandmother, stepmother, bhabhi and cousin sister. How can you allow such stuff in the name of creative freedom? That is my question.
But
and
sir,
such people,
I
you see,
beg to
the
differ.
place of
We are
such
talking
people is
about
in
this
jail.
This particular series,
I got 10 examples.
where Ekta Kapoor, and as she says, she's put the blame on her content
Do
team.
it before the break.
And she says that they have done this, but they are showing school children who are in 11th class and 12th class, post-puberty, and they are being abused by people known to them. Now, if you look at statistics all over the world,
I go beyond
70% of people, children, can I just finish this one sentence, sir, then I'll let you talk. 70%, almost
No, let me speak. You have been speaking. Let me finish. You have spoken enough.
I'll wait.
I am talking for the first time.
Sorry to
Now,
interrupt.
you see, now there is one film, for example, in which a school girl in what you call in her skirt is has got very objectionable scenes with a boy. Now, question is not that at that point of time this girl was minor or major. Point is that you are showing a school girl having sex with a boy.
No, I think we're quite clear out here that Ekta Kapoor thinks that this is going to get her money. And the question is whether she's lost it. You know, whether she's in a trap of creating obscene content, and that is what she wants to be known for.
And Arnab, it is not just Ekta Kapoor.
And the problem is that this is the mainstreamization of that. This is the mainstreamization of that. She's taking advantage of the fact, that there isn't enough censorship on the OTT platform.
It is not about
I think
Ekta
for the
Kapoor
first time in my career, and I've done hundreds of panel participations with you. I disagree with you for the first time, because why are you blaming the producers only? What about the actors who signed such contracts and where were their parents?
Certainly, we are blaming everybody.
We did not know if those children were already adults because they are being portrayed as 11th and 12th class students. Thirdly, if we don't show it graphically, okay, they're not naked or anything, okay? But to get across the point, because, most people, not just India, most people all over the world turn a blind eye to somebody within their family who's abusing their kids.
She's not doing it for that. Let me tell you. No, 1 minute. Let's make it very clear. She is not doing it to spread social awareness. And you, Simi, should not present that argument, because she's doing it to make money. There are many platforms and many ways in which you can spread awareness against crimes against women, against the sexual abuse of minors. You don't need to produce this rubbish and then say I'm doing it as this is garbage. This is unadulterated garbage, and her argument will be that garbage sells and there are no controls.
Arnab,
I presume that's the argument. And by the way, the breaking news is that Mumbai police has, I'm told, questioned Ekta Kapoor and her mother Shobha Kapoor. And the fact is that it's not just all Balaji. Her argument will be, I'm not the only one. There are others producing content worse than me. Pardon me?
They are feigning ignorance.
Are they not a listed company? Are they not a listed company? No, are they not a listed company? Do they not have any social responsibility?
Yes,
Arnab ji, अगर broader sense में देखेंगे तो दाल काली है, दाल ही काली है, दाल में सफेद नहीं है, दाल ही काली है. ये जो adult content है, it is so sickening, sir. It is so sickening. अगर आप बाहर जाएंगे, because there is no censor. वो script के ऊपर, words के ऊपर, lines के ऊपर कोई censor नहीं है, sir. मैं हर कोठे पे, हर जगह पे जाके बोलता हूं कि इसका सेंसर चाहिए. गाली गलौच, गंद, डर्ट, सब कुछ है, चारों तरफ है सर. शुक्र है, आई एम वेरी ग्रेटफुल कि आपने इस मुद्दे को उठाया है. इट्स रियली a great hats off to you, sir.
And tell me one thing. Tell me Arun ji, thank you for that. क्या इसमें exploitation of people नहीं है? The point that Ekta said is that why do actors agree? But then we know that there are many strugglers. And we know that in the past there have been various situations in which, actors, directors, actresses have all been exploited. What option are they left with? And this content, unless this content stops, this is the main...
I want to ask you a question. Yeah,
No, what has happened is...
Who are you asking?
About this debate.
What has happened is, after, spurred by these OTTs, there are
आप मेरे हाथ में और ना
hundreds of...
पकड़ा सकते हो, लेकिन स्टैप तो मैं कर रही हूँ ना, आप
नहीं. The sport, you see, situation, it is serious situation, spurred by OTTs, there are several apps which have come up. Those apps are having call girls, getting shooting done in places like Meerut in North India, Mumbai in Central India, Madras and Chennai and Hyderabad in South India. I mean, they're giving 14,000 a day to a photographer. In Meerut, for example, they have hired flats where they make makeshift studios, and there these call girls are made to shoot. So, spurred by the OTTs, there is an entire industry which has formed. Hundreds of...
No, 1 minute. Simi Chandok is countering you. She's objecting to what you said there. Simi, go on.
I want to know, did he just use the word call girls who are shooting? Did he use the word call girls?
He did.
Yes.
Is that right or wrong? Is that judgmental or not?
No, 1 minute. No. I also say this. 1 minute. Uday Mahurkar, I don't think you can make a sweeping statement like that. It's not true. You can't generalize like that, but that's your view, not ours. Yeah.
In bedrooms and hotel rooms, how can you
hold that view.
Call artists call girls? I want to know that. How can you address artists?
I am talking about apps.
Simi, louder.
Which can't afford
it to fame, to stardom. How can you call them call girls, sir? I want to know that.
I am putting the entire picture before you. Don't catch me on word. What I am saying,
every word here is countable. Every sentence we say is accountable.
Hundreds of apps which are spawned.
Sir, I am with you when it comes to protecting the innocent. But in this case, I think it's not that.
But we always have heard, and that part of industry legend is that Ekta Kapoor is involved in every part of her business. She's a micromanager. But in this case, I find it surprising that Simi, there is an official statement which basically says that their company is fully compliant with all applicable laws, including the POCSO Act, and the allegations are incorrect. So both Ekta Kapoor and Shobha Kapoor trying to claim now they are not involved in the day-to-day operations of the company and trying to get away by pinning the blame on different teams. I mean, how can you...
That's where I started this conversation, that Ekta Kapoor has washed her hands of this entire thing and blamed it on her content company and the content team. And she said, we will question the content company who produces for us. And,
so there's one overall direction. Anyone acquainted with what Alt Balaji does,
they should have taken the credit for it.
Isn't this Alt Balaji platform largely depending on this kind of technology? This kind of content? What people call obscene, semi-pornographic, borderline pornographic content. Is this not true? And can all of this happen without, is this content being generated without Ekta Kapoor's knowledge?
No.
But I want to ask you that this particular post that has just come into news today...
Let Simi reply that. Yeah.
Okay, am I supposed to talk?
Yeah, you are.
So I want to know that this season and this particular controversial scene, I would never let my son act in it. But of course, I'm not being hypocritical. They were willing victims. Okay, if you can call them victims. Now the point is, this happened in 2016. I heard the gentleman say that the certain legal authorities were not cooperating with him. But 2016 and 2024, 2 days ago, were they zombies all this time? So who was sleeping on this matter and who was a zombie here? I want to know that.
Yeah, he's saying because he went yesterday. He went a few days back to the Delhi police and could not get an FIR Uday Mahurkar has the Save Bharat, Save Culture mission. And he went to get an FIR filed. I think he wanted to go against Netflix and Twitter and a lot of others. X, yeah. But he also wanted to go against All Balaji, and his FIR was not registered. He was very angry. Why were you not heard in Delhi? And this case has now gone to through the court in Mumbai.
But why didn't he approach the media earlier? Why didn't he approach any of us?
No, he's been approaching the media. The point is whether Ekta Kapoor will take responsibility. Should Ekta Kapoor take responsibility?
No. Listen, Arnab, this is a very lame argument. Let me tell you one thing. Save Culture, Save Bharat Foundation had filed a complaint against Ekta Kapoor in the self-grievance mechanism of OTT. And this was again the same.
You said that at the opening of the show. You said that at the opening of the show.
Let me speak, Simran. Let me speak. I'm not interrupting.
Simi, not Simran.
Simi.
So now we were heard by the grievance redressal system, where there is a judge and there are five. There is a judge, a Supreme Court judge, who is heading it, Justice A.K. Sikri, and there are five other members. One of them is Suhashini Ratnam, who is wife of Mani Ratnam. So we had an online hearing, and there after that the judgment came in our favor, and then Ekta Kapoor withdrew the entire series. This was in 2000. This series of 2020, 3X series it is called. So sir, she is responsible. She withdrew the series.
Sir, I would stand by you through any of such cases where there is any exploitation. Forget minors, even adults. But here, those people, is there any proof that those characters who are playing 11th and 12th standard children, are they below 18?
But is that the only issue here, Simi? The question here broadens to the content, not only to whether the actor. Suppose you have a 40-year-old person playing a 15-year-old child, you'll say that that's not a case. That's not the point. The question is equally, maybe not a legal, but a moral argument on depiction. Should you be depicting children in graphic scenes, even if those scenes are played out by adults?
School girls seeing the
okay, sir, I have a question here, Arnab. I have a question here. I'm sure you don't have the time, but I'm sure you're aware because your knowledge is almost up right to the galaxy. So OMG2 came and there was a big controversy. Okay? And it was all about Pankaj Tripathi as Kanti Bhai, whose son gets suspended from school because he was caught in a vulgar act. Now that vulgar act means he was pleasuring himself. So the whole movie is based on that. And Akshay Kumar comes there as a symbol of Lord Shiva, as a roop of Lord Shiva to help him. And they're trying to tell us that self-pleasuring for these boys at this age is normal. Why is nobody complaining about that movie and why?
No, we are complaining against that also. You are ignorant. We are complaining against that.
Sir.
Yeah.
Arun.
We are not targeting Ekta Kapoor.
Arun.
We are targeting all those.
Ekta Kapoor की बात नहीं है, Lord Shiva की बात है.
बहुत अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट है इस जगह पे, बहुत ही पैथेटिक कंडीशंस हैं. हम कहां से कहां जा रहे हैं? आई एम टेलिंग यू, बहुत एक रोल के पीछे 2500 लड़कियां, लड़के, बंदे, बंदियां लगे हुए हैं सर. बहुत प्रॉब्लम है. और वो अपने प्लेट में डाल के बोलते हैं कि प्लीज एक्सप्लॉइट मी, प्लीज एक्सप्लॉइट मी. कीजिए सर. ये मैम बात करनी दीजिए प्लीज. मैम एक्सक्यूज मी, बात भी करने दीजिए, हम भी हैं प्लीज. सर यहाँ पे बहुत गड़बड़ है. यहाँ पे जो आपने शुरू किया है इसका मुहिम बनाइए, मुद्दा बनाइए, लगातार बनाइए. सेंसर चाहिए वहां पे, अच्छे खासे सेंसर चाहिए सर. आजकल तो जितनी चोरी, चकारी, लूट, फजूट, जो खून हो रहे हैं वो को देख के हो रहे हैं. बहुत गड़बड़ है सर. ये जो सेक्स है ये सब है.
Everybody is saying that Republic is the only channel that has picked it up.
Yes,
but I'm getting a lot of online feedback from a lot of people watching this debate, which means कहीं ना कहीं हमारे समाज में नहीं, हमारे समाज में
आई एम ऑनर्ड कि मैं आपके सामने बैठ के ये बोल रहा हूँ, बिकॉज यू आर एब्सोल्युटली राइट जेंटलमैन. ये राइट है बिल्कुल. ये जो आर है ये आपकी चैनल जो है हमारी चैनल है सर।
जी अरुण जी, मैं इसको मुहिम जरूर बनाऊंगा। हम कोई ऐसे जैसे कहा जाता है ना, वी आर नॉट पीपल विद अ you are always told you don't have a good imagination, you're against creativity. We are not. But I'll tell you, if this is all that Ekta Kapoor can produce, then we can only feel sorry for her. And it's not just about minors being played or played by minors, it's about minors being depicted. It's about a lot of other issues. And we need to have an open debate on it. I need to close it for now. This debate will continue. I can assure you. Yeah, Mohan.
We should not forget.
Arun.
Sir, we should not forget that lady called Ekta Kapoor, उसने इतने लोगों को एम्प्लॉयमेंट दी है, बहुत सारे सैकड़ों लोगों को उस औरत ने एम्प्लॉयमेंट दी है सर। अगर ये गंदी बात है तो गंदी बात है सर।
उड़ता पंजाब किसने बनाया था सर? जहां पे उन्होंने पंजाब के जो ड्रग एडिक्शन का इतना बड़ा एपिडेमिक है और पूरा गंदी बीमारी है, आज
वो बात नहीं है। Nobody is saying nobody is saying she's not done a good job, and nobody is saying this is only being done by Ekta. But we need to have a debate on it. Maybe we'll call Ekta Kapoor and have a debate on this. I'll call Ekta back. If she
spoke about how women are exploited and how she committed suicide. What about Urta Punjab, Silk Smita? What about Saas Bhi Kabhi Bahu Thi? She changed the whole entire scene of Indian television.
Okay, Urta Punjab had 94 cuts, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm closing by saying that from the obscenity in Bollywood, we are going to what we are seeing here tonight, another matter of concern. There was almost violence in Parliament today. JPC meeting that almost ended in bloody violence. We are on that story on what happened during the JPC on the Waqf in Parliament when I'm back.
Time for a quick breather. Arnab will be right back with the debate. From the Republic Media Network headquarters, it's time for Arnab Goswami on the debate. Arnab Goswami on the debate.
And for those who cry about the death of democracy, let me share what the death of democracy really is, what it really constitutes, and how it actually looks. Well, viewers of Republic, there has been violence. Yes, Joint Parliamentary Committee during the Waqf Bill in the Parliament premises today. Violence during a Parliament Joint Parliamentary Committee meeting where one of the Trinamool MPs, so loyal to Mamta, got so furious, so angry that he was being stopped when he was repeatedly interrupting another speaker, that he picked up a bottle and broke it in anger inside the Parliament premises. And there he is, that great man, being taken out, bandaged like he's some kind of a hero. It's an act of lumpenism. This act of breaking a glass bottle was aimed, and those are the pictures of the glass shards all around. This is happening in our Parliament, viewers. He wanted to break the bottle and maybe throw the broken bottle at a BJP MP, also from Bengal, who happens to be a former judge, who was objecting to his interruptions. So this is what we are living to see. MPs breaking bottles, injuring themselves, blood all over, bandages being put, and that's what we are paying taxes for. Imagine, viewers, imagine if this MP had gone and taken that broken bottle and ended up assaulting another MP with a broken glass bottle, there would be blood on the Parliament floor. It could be a very serious situation. Now, this is a near repeat to the same behavior, the abusive rant that controversial MP Mahua Moitra went on earlier, and her misbehavior during an earlier Parliament committee meeting to discuss charges of corruption against her. Here she is, defiant after the way in which she behaved. This is behavior. Again, it was from a Trinamool India Alliance MP. And yesterday, another India Alliance MP, a Samajwadi MP, used a cuss word against the sitting Chief Justice of India, D.Y. Chandrachud. Viewers, what's going on? I don't want to preach about propriety. This is not a preachy channel, you know that. But all I want tonight, that when I open the phone lines, I want to hear your loud protest and anger tonight. So let's open the phone lines. I will open the lines because I want you to protest and shout so loud that your voice reaches the halls and galleries of Parliament, where blood was nearly spilled today by the people, by the same people, the very same people, the very same individuals